I also have a dream, and it's been a long time, and I know I've manifested some of it, but...
All right, now, no, we're just going to harass you proportionately to our last friend, because it doesn't seem fair to harass him and then not you, don't you? But we're just going to speak briefly and then we'll hear you. But we just want to point out, when you say, I have a dream, feel how it sort of goes in that direction. And then when you say, and it's been a long time, which way do you go?
Yeah.
I have a dream, but it's been a long time. So now let's restate that. I have a dream that I am constantly reformulating in a new attitude of understanding. And even though I've had this dream for a long time, it's never been as clear and precise as it is now. And I've never been as aware of what I need to do to make it come true as I am now. Mm-hmm. Now that was clean.
I feel that. I feel that because I feel that.
Do you know what makes you, or most everybody, and we can feel it with you too, you know what makes you qualify your dreams? You've been so aware of people who are aware that you've had your dream, who know that your dream hasn't come about yet. So you, in your objective honesty, want to say, I have a dream and I know it hasn't happened yet. And what you want to say to all of them is, buzz off. I don't want you to be aware of how I'm doing in my dream, unless you are in as much anticipation as I am about it coming true. So you kind of want to leave everybody else out. Now we will listen.
Well, it's the thing is that's kind of like the choices that I've made
have nothing to do with anything now.
I'm like this 99%er. I get to 98.99 and then I'll go in a different direction.
No, you don't. You're not anywhere near that.
Okay, all right. But
you are a 50%er.
All right, okay.
You go this way and this way and this way and this way and this way. Let us hear you. That's fine. There's not anything inappropriate about that. We just want you to feel how you're doing. Has Jerry and Esther traveled from Phoenix to San Diego? That journey is so easy because all they got to do is go 400 miles and keep going west. And they'll get there. And even though most of the journey they're not yet in San Diego, all they have to do is keep going and they're going to get there. That journey is understandable, so it's almost annoying to hear us talk about it. Yeah. But the journey from sickness to wellness doesn't feel that clear cut. Or the journey from living here with property I want to sell and being in Hawaii with property that I want to be on doesn't feel that clear cut. But it is when you make it an emotional journey, you see. You don't have to figure out all the hows and wheres and whens and whos. All you have to figure out is how you want to feel when you focus upon your dream. Interesting that we have two dreams that we begin with, because that's the first point of vibrational relativity, what I want, you see. So keep talking.
Well, it's really interesting, because if I was to hear somebody come up and say, and I even listen to myself, and it becomes so habitual to say, to go on the other side of it, and then I see it's so clear to see it with somebody else. I guess that's the choice thing,
Well, what it is, here's what it is.
I can see somebody else not making the right choice, but when it comes to me,
Here's what it is. You're going to really like this. So Jerry and Esther have been traveling this nation now. They're in their 6th or 7th year of figurating around the nation. Some places they go twice a year, but they get around. They know the freeways. They know where they're going to camp. They know where they're going to put the monster bus. In most cases, they know the cities and the hotels, the restaurants, the dry cleaners. They know these cities now. And so the other day, they were traveling from a place they've been many, many times, getting ready to get onto the interstate to come to Phoenix. They were on their way to Sedona. And Magellan suggested one route, and Jerry said, I think there's a better way of doing it. And Esther said, I'll do whatever you want, because sometimes the routes are not all programmed into Magellan, and this was a particularly new road. And then Esther said, oh, I remember, I think we did that before. And Jerry said, that's right, we did. So they got on Interstate 5 just for a short while, and then took California Highway, Route 52, just for a little bit. And then they came to a juncture where 52 could go out to La Mesa, which seemed in the direction that they wanted to go, or get in on another road, 125, and then Jerry was not quite sure. And Esther said, tell me now, tell me now, tell me now, tell me now, tell me now. She had no time to wait. She had to be in the right lane to do whatever it was. And she said, oh, I'll go this way. This feels familiar. And as soon as they got on it, Jerry said, do you know why it feels familiar? We made this same mistake last time. So they did the same thing that they did last time. They waved at all their friends that they had seen before. They went off the freeway into a neighborhood, into a very congested business district, and made a very difficult U-turn in the giant monster bus, and then got going the opposite way on the freeway, and eventually, many miles and many minutes later, they were back underway, and they laughed about it. And Esther said, it's interesting. The path that we had taken actually had a vibration that called us. In other words, it was not the right road, but it was the more familiar road. And so that's what happens. Law of attraction is always giving you the road that feels most familiar. Not necessarily the road that is where you want to go, but it's the road that feels most familiar. And so it's easier to talk about where you are, much easier to talk about where you are than where you're going. But you got to talk about where you're going to activate the vibration of where you're going. We would like to encourage Jerry and Esther to play a game to turn their Magellans off for a while and just identify where they want to be and sit together and meditate and quiet their mind, and then state, each of them, a very clear statement of where they're going and the ease with which they want to go. And we could guide them impulse by impulse to not only the path that's the highlighted route, but to the path that has the least traffic, the path that has the most smooth pavement. In other words, anything that you want, if you make that a vibration that's active within you, you'll be called to. So you'll come and you might say, I don't know which way to go, but you'll have an impulse, and when you follow the impulse, you see, Esther's impulse was the impulse that was right, in the sense that it was the impulse that was the most activated. So what's your impulse? Is your impulse that's most activated the one about having not enough money, or is the impulse that's most activated within you the one about having the most? Does your impulse say, I never get a parking place? Or does your impulse say, I always get a parking place? What's your vibrational impulse, you see? You know people who always get a parking place. That's what's most active in them. And you know people who never get a parking place. That's what's most active in them. And the reason it's active is because a lot of people just observe what is, activate what is, offer more of what is, and never deliberately do anything about activating anything that is other than what is. And we say, you got to do something different with your vibration if you want something to be different. That's why visualization is so wonderful, and meditation is so wonderful, and focusing on people who are having the success that you want is so wonderful, and dreaming is so wonderful, and sifting through your past for things that felt good, like this thing that you think you want. In other words, you just got to deliberately activate something that feels like where you want to go.
You know, I understand that. You know, I'll make a choice. I see this continuously. I'll make a choice, and then I'll modify it or make a secondary choice.
Well,
and then I'll say, you know,
we want you to make that your choices be emotional. And then here is the most significant thing that we want you to do. Play with this for a week, and you'll have this.
All right.
Make the emotional choice. We'll wait until we have your undivided attention.
Oh.
Make the emotional choice the one that feels the best. And then no matter how it turns out, make peace with what happened. And then make the emotional choice that feels best. And then no matter how it turns out, make peace with what happened. In other words, we want you to start following your gut and then being proud that you did. And eventually you'll get... see, here's the thing that we feel so powerfully that we want to find a way of conveying to you. Over here in vibrational escrow, this point of vibrational relativity, are all of your dreams and desires and preferences with Source's endorsement and agreement and energy and resources all over here, sending a signal that is so powerful that it cannot be misunderstood. And when you get in the vicinity of that signal, everything about you will move you in the direction of that. Jerry and Esther often talk about their coming together. It was like there was a giant magnet over there that just sucked them both into it. There was nothing that either one of them felt that they could consciously do to keep from coming together. It felt that powerful to them. They still counted among the most extraordinary of their intentions. And we say, no wonder you intended it before you were born. Your life experiences caused you to continue to add to it. In other words, that was a done deal. Your union, your coming together was a done deal, and Source was sending the signal. And after they came together, they've named 100 or more circumstances that they now understand would have led them together if the one that led them together had not led them together. In other words, Source is that good. There are hundreds, thousands of avenues to lead you to the fulfillment of what you want. You don't have to really be very good at this. You just got to be happy.
Yeah, I've also seen that in others, that, I've had enough experience, and I'll teach somebody a little bit of this, and whammo, they'll go out and do it, and I'll say, geez, I wish I could do it that well.
Well, you see, the younger they are, the less set in their ways they are. And by set in their ways, we mean their vibrational ways. But it does not matter. It really does not matter. And that's why we are saying to you, just make peace with where you are. In other words, you can make fun of that. You can say, well, I've been set in my ways for a while. That's why it's been taking me a while to get to this thing that I want. But the advantage of that is my dream is bigger and bolder and stronger than something that had just occurred. In other words, it's a powerful dream with powerful resources, and I can really feel when I'm on the beat of it, and I can feel when I'm not, you see. Mm-hmm. And then you just do your best to talk about it. Mm-hmm. Let us hear you.
Yeah.
Talking about your dream.
My dream has been for...
Not my dream has been. My dream is.
My
dream now is. When you say my dream
has
been.
My dream is now.
You hear the difference?
Is not to teach. There's so much teaching and expressing in this area of create your own reality and self-awareness that I feel like, I really have a lot of wisdom pent up in this area, and I'd like to express it more.
Of course you do. You know why? You were born to do that.
Yeah,
no wonder that's such a powerful desire.
Right,
and no wonder you feel such frustration when it isn't unfolding, you see. Mm-hmm. But so now talk to us about the dream. How would it be? Your dream's being fulfilled in part right here and now. Do you realize how much wonderful stuff has been said to you, called through us to you for all of them and beyond?
Well, I'm a pretty good writer. I could express it through writing. I've done some teaching. I'd like to do that. And when
we come back from segment of refreshment, you don't have to come forward to the chair, because we will wedge it in all day long. But the thing we want you to begin listening for is we're going to teach all of you how to begin dialoguing in a way that makes you more of a vibrational match to your dream.
Wonderful.
You're doing what so many do. Your practical mind keeps wanting to explain where you are in a relationship to where you're going.
Right.
And you don't have to do that anymore. All you have to do is get pointed in the direction of where you want to go. And we'll show you how to do that.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Good time for a segment of refreshment. We are complete.